I've come here to do gardening with children. I also love books, and I love this opportunity to combine all of them, read them a story, tell them about plants, and have them plant a seed and see what nature is all about. Because when kids live in a city these days, they don't really have the opportunity anymore to know where their food comes from, or that they can have flowers in their life.
Our first storyteller is Joanne Bliss, and our second storyteller and our gardening expert is Joan Borgman. So have a good time.
I don't really have a story. I just have information about the life cycle of a sunflower, which is what you're going to attempt to grow. Now, how many of you have seen sunflowers growing? Okay, and you know they can grow up to be about 6 feet. You know how high big 6 feet is? 6 feet tall. And today, we have live sunflowers here, as you can see. And basically, sunflowers usually start blooming in the summer. They have bright yellow petals, as you can see, that make them look like the sun. And as I'm told by Cindy, they face the sun at full growth. We call them sunflowers because they have very tall stalks and they grow higher than you and I. To stay in the ground, sunflowers have long roots. The sunflower makes a powder called pollen. You know what pollen is? Okay? This flower head is as big as a dinner plate. In the middle of the flower head are the parts that make new flowers. That's these brown seeds. Some of these parts make pollen. Other parts will hold new flower seeds. A bee visits the sunflower. Do you know why sunflowers have bright yellow petals? Why?
Because they call sunflowers?
But why do they have bright petals? The yellow petals. It's to attract the bees. When a bee lands on a flower head, it eats the sweet tasting pollen. As the bee crawls over the flower, some of the pollen sticks to its legs and to its body. The bee carries the pollen to another sunflower. The bee leaves the flower head and flies to another sunflower. The bee still has a lot of pollen on its leg and its body. And as it crawls over the new flower, the pollen brushes off onto the parts that will hold the new seeds. And what do we call that process? Pollination. The new seeds. Many grains of pollen stick to the flower head. The pollen is so tiny that you can hardly see it. The pollen and the parts of the flower that hold the new seeds join together, and this is called fertilization. Now the new seeds will begin to form. Now in the autumn, this is what the sunflower looks like. It has turned brown. When autumn comes, the parent plant is old and its petals are brown and crinkled. This plant will soon die, but the new seeds are almost ready to fall. And you can see the pattern of the seeds, and these are going to drop to the ground for the new growth. A bird flies to the old sunflower. The bees have been here. Now it's time for the bird's job. A bird flies to the old sunflower and clings to the flower head. It is looking for seeds to eat. It uses its beak to peck out new seeds. But as it flies away, it drops a seed on the ground. This is what the seed looks like during the winter. The seed lies on the ground, and the wind covers it with soil and fallen leaves. Winter arrives, and the seed stays under the cold ground. But when the winter has passed, the spring sun heats up the ground. This warms up the cold seed. And now the seed is beginning to take root. And that's what's going to happen with the seeds that you placed in your soil today. Then the spring rain falls on the ground. The seed takes in the water and starts to get bigger. The root, and where's the root? Right here. The root begins to form. You know, you can also grow these seeds in plain water. They will also root in water as well as in the soil. A root begins to grow out of the seed and down into the ground. This root will hold the plant in the ground and take in more water to help it grow. And this is the first growth. This is what your plants will look like, hopefully. The seed grows a young stalk. We call this a shoot. The shoot grows upward, pushing the green inner parts of the seed up into the air. These green parts are called seed leaves. When the seed leaves are pushed above the ground, they open out. And now the sunflower is beginning to grow. At first, the sunflower uses food stored in the seed leaves to help it grow. After a few days, different leaves begin to grow. These leaves use sunlight to help them make food. The sunflower now grows very quickly. The big flowers open up in the summer. And then the book goes on to tell you how you can grow a sunflower. So basically that's the life cycle of a sunflower that grows in the wild. And here you have a real live sunflower that has bloomed. And hopefully once your plant starts growing, then you are able to plant it outdoors because they need outdoor light and sunshine.
So since she read a book about how sunflowers grow, I'm not going to read a book about how sunflowers grow. I'm going to read a book called Tops and Bottoms. And it's about, well, let's see just what it's about. Look at that. Look at these beautiful pictures. This is about growing. You can grow these kind of things too. Oh, you know what I also just thought of? Do you know the sunflower seed? Now, who likes to eat the sunflower seeds? We do, but other animals do too, like birds, squirrels, all kinds of animals like to eat sunflower seeds. All right. Once upon a time, there lived this really lazy bear who had a lot of money and a lot of land, and he liked to sleep a lot, and he didn't do anything with his land. But then there was this family of rabbits, and they lived down the road, and they didn't have a lot of money, and they didn't have a lot of food, but they thought, the bear lives just up the road. Maybe we can come up with an idea that we can do something together so that we can have food using his land. So the next day, the hare went down to talk to the bear and said, hey, wake up, wake up. We can be business partners. You see this field out here? We propose to you that we would like to grow things on your land, and we'll share everything that we grow. What do you think about that? You just decide what part of the plant you want. And the bear said, oh, I'll take the tops. And so the bear went back to sleep, and the rabbits went to work, and they worked very, very, very hard. And what are they doing in this picture? They're planting. First they had to get the soil all ready for planting, and they had to plant the seeds, like we're going to plant today. And they watered, and they weeded, because you know that's part of planting, right? I mean, not planting, well, taking care of your plants. You have to weed. Who knows what weeding is? Do you know? Weeding, sometimes when you plant something like you want to grow carrots, and lots of other things start coming up, and they get in the way, and those are called weeds. Weeds are plants that are growing in the wrong place. So you take them out, so they won't take the water and the food for the plants that you want to grow. So, In the meantime, the plants are growing, and Bear slept, and Bear kept on sleeping, and the rabbits took care of the plants, and all of a sudden it's time for harvest. Who knows what harvest is? What is harvest? Yeah, when you pick them. And it was time for harvest, and the hare said, "Wake up, Bear, it's time to harvest. You're going to get the tops, and I'm going to get the bottoms." So, oh my goodness, what do you think the rabbits planted? They planted carrots and beets. Now those are things that you eat the bottoms. So the bear got all the leaves that you don't eat, and the rabbits got all the vegetables. So I don't know if that was such a good deal for the bear. So the hare said, "Here you go, Mr. Bear. Here's the bottoms. These are ours. You wanted the tops." And he went, "You know, I don't think that was such a good idea. You know what?" This is the bear talking. "You tricked me. You plant this field again. And this season I want the bottoms." And the hare said, "It's a done deal, Bear." So in the meantime, Bear goes back to sleep, and the rabbits are planting and planting and planting and planting and planting, and they're weeding and they're watering. And once again, the rabbit comes to the bear and says, "Hey, it's time to harvest." And so the bear wakes up and he says, "Okay, you're going to get the bottoms and I'm going to get the tops." What do you think the rabbits planted this time? They planted cabbages. And the bear got the roots from the cabbages, and the rabbits got the cabbages. And once again, the bear didn't get anything good. Oh my goodness. And the bear said, "Hey, you tricked me again. That's not fair." And he said, "I want you to plant something else, and this time I want both the tops and the bottoms." And the rabbit said, "You're right, it's not fair that we did that, so okay, go back to sleep and we're going to plant again." So once again, the rabbit starts planting the field, and the bear went to sleep, and the hares are doing the same thing. They're taking care of it, they're weeding it, they're watering it, they're making sure the bugs aren't eating it all up. And I think, let's see what's going to happen on this page. Oh, bear sleeping as the crops grew, and once again, the rabbits come and say, "Hey, wake up, Bear. It's time for the harvest. You're going to get the tops and the bottoms, and we're just going to get the middle." What do you think they planted this time? Corn. So what do you think the bear got? No, you know what? He wanted the tops and the bottoms, and the rabbits are getting the middle. So the bear is not getting the corn. The rabbits are getting the corn. And the bear is just getting the leaves and the roots. Now, is that something you eat from the corn? No, that was no good. So, oh my goodness, and the bear was wide awake, and he said, "That's it, hare. From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops and the bottoms in the middle." And the hare and his family scooped up the corn and hopped down the road to their home. I don't know, I think these rabbits are really tricky, don't you? Not very good. But Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare bought back his own land, the one that he was living on and paying rent, with the profit from his crops, and he and Mrs. Hare opened a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear lived to learn happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again. And I think that maybe that bear learned a lesson. Maybe he learned a lesson. I wonder what lesson he learned. What part of the plant you eat? What do you think? What lesson do you think he learned? Yeah, not to be lazy. So you know what? I like a lot of things about this story because I think the pictures are beautiful. I think, you know, those rabbits are tricky, but you know what? It's sneaky. You